Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the Dental Realist podcast. I am Dr. Ryder Waldron and I'm joined as usual by Dr. Marcus D. Neff and Dr. Troy Stevens. Marcus, how's it going tonight?
It's great. Enjoying this fall weather.
Yeah, I'm liking these cooler temperatures myself too. Troy, how about you?
Oh yeah, you like the cold. I forget, Ryder.
I do. I like the fall. I like the winter. I despise the summer.
I would like to have just a slower transition, not just going right from summer to winter, though.
Yeah, it seems like fall goes by a little too quick. I would like a longer fall and a shorter summer. My pale skin doesn't agree with the sun.
Yeah, I agree there. Mine doesn't either.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things. I just would rather it be warm than cold.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah.
Not me. Yeah.
To each his own. What can you do?
Yeah, that's right. So we've got some good topics to talk about tonight. We've got a few topics we're going to cover tonight. But our first one, Troy, I'm going to let you introduce it, and I'm going to just hope you don't have a stroke in the meantime while you are talking about it. But tell us what happened with this insurance issue at your office today.
Yeah, if you're a listener of the Dental Realist podcast, you understand that insurance has kind of gotten pretty involved in dentistry, and it's pretty much ruining dentistry. And I'm not in a good mood right now just for the thing that happened to me today. And so we're going to share that. This is an interesting thing. I'm not going to name insurance companies because I'm not into the name and shame thing, whatever it is. But I am also what I'd like to be straight up front. I am not a provider or in network with this particular company. And I don't know if that's why they did this or not. But we sent a pre-authorization in for a patient for a buildup in a crown. The tooth had a root canal, and it had a previous crown. It had decay up underneath the distal of the crown, and it had recurrent abscess that needed a retreat. So the endo retreated it. I wanted to take the tooth off, build it back up, or crown off, build it back up, and get her a new crown. Well, so we pre-authorized the new build-up and crown, and we got the pre-authorization back. And there was a kind of a denial of the build-up part, and it says here the reason they said that the benefits for this service cannot be determined at this time. Please resubmit a retrospective review with a pre- and post-operative photograph and a pre- and post-operative X-ray. Post-operative images must show the buildup in place. Okay, so I'm trying to pre-authorize if I can do a buildup, and I have to show them an X-ray or a photograph after I do it to see if they'll pre-authorize it or not. Oh wow!
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't even know how to proceed.
I
mean, what do you
I
do?
don't know. You're dumbfounded.
You just do it, and then you pray that the patient doesn't get hosed for it. I mean, that's why we do pre-authorizations, right?
Yeah.
So the patient
can
knows
know
what's going on.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're in this situation, I would think if you do that procedure, do that buildup, and then the insurance denies it after doing that, is the patient going to be mad at you or the insurance or
definitely us, because they'll call the insurance and the insurance will say, well, your dentist should have known. Well, the dentist tried to find out, and you told them that basically I had to do it and then take a picture of it and send it back in.
And then we'll go back in time.
And then we'll go back in time, we'll pre-authorize it, and then you can do it.
We'll fire up the DeLorean and head back 5 years, and then we'll see if they'll pay for that.
See if we can generate 1.21 gigawatts.
I don't know.
Have you guys ever heard anything like that? I mean, that is just I can't even comprehend. Pre and post-op photograph or X-rays.
Yeah.
Post-operative images must show the buildup in place.
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
I'm afraid we're going to see more of this, where it's like somebody comes in for a toothache and they need a root canal or an extraction, and we're going to have to pre-authorize that. Or post-authorize it. I mean, maybe you can pull the tooth and then submit it and see if they'll pay for it.
I think what's going to come to is we're going to be pre-authorizing fillings.
Yeah,
we're going to have to send in X-rays.
I worry that
and
too.
And then they're going to ask us to send a picture in after it's prepped to show that there was decay there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to see a final picture of the final product. So we're going to actually have to take snapshots as we're doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I was talking to my business partner today, and that's kind of what I was like, that's what I felt like I had to do here was like, I'm being watched, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to do something, that doesn't need to be done. So therefore, let's have the big bad insurance company, and who knows who's looking at these x-rays and these photographs. They're probably dentists, but I don't know if they're board certified in our states,
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
Yeah.
and what is the deal? I mean, you got to talk about inefficiency. They're already cutting our reimbursements, and now we're going to have to take 20 years longer to do our procedures because we're taking pictures every step of the way.
Well, and then you've got, you're using more supplies for the room every time they come in. The patient, if I was a patient, I'd get frustrated because we already hear about how long healthcare takes. You need a surgery done at a hospital, and it takes, a long time to either get in or get your insurance to say they're going to pay for it or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you have a cavity, you have to pre-authorize that. If it's a deep cavity, I mean, that could be the difference between doing a filling and doing a root canal later on, waiting a month or two.
Yeah, you need a root canal. In 6 weeks, we'll be able to tell you if your insurance company will let us do one, and then we can get you out of pain. Until then, good luck.
Good luck. Maybe we'll extract it after that.
Yeah. Well, they would. They would just say, take the thing out. I mean, you're not going to wait 6 weeks in pain. Yeah, that was just pretty frustrating. I got to write them back and say, how do I proceed here? I can't take can't take an X-ray of something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I think Marcus mentioned on a previous episode, I can't remember which one, about Marcus, you said that you thought it was going to come to that where we have to diagnose all the cavities and then submit it as a pre-authorization to the insurance and then wait to see if they'll cover it.
I think it's coming. I mean, I think a lot of stuff on the medical side's that way. I think that's
it is.
Unfortunately the direction dentistry seems to be heading, and it doesn't seem like we have anybody leading us in a different direction.
Wow.
No. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. I like that foreshadowing, Marcus.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else to add on that, Troy? You feeling okay?
Along with Marcus's comment, though, that's kind of the way the medical field is, because if you go in, say you've got a sore shoulder, and you go into a medical doctor, there is like protocol. Like they have to, we got to do this, and then this, and then this, and then this, before anything will be covered. You have to do this. They have to have all these diagnostic codes. Exactly.
Not just the procedure code like we do in dentistry. They have diagnostic codes.
Yep. And so who is the one that's dictating the treatment here? Is it the physician? Because the physician may not say, "Oh, I need to do this, 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 this." I can go right to this. I mean, I don't need to do all this other fluff. But the insurance company wants you to do this, this, and that's the way we're headed. I mean, we're heading in the same direction, and no one's putting the brakes on it.
Yeah, definitely not. No, it's getting worse.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I don't even want to do this stuff, now. I'm like going, no, if I have to sit and take pictures of stuff that I do, and I can't, I mean, that's just too tedious, too monotonous, and forget it.
Well, you feel like if they don't trust that you are a capable dentist to diagnose and treat, you're not trustworthy, then why do they even let you submit claims to their insurance if you're, if you're that bad of a guy or a girl?
You're that
like,
sketchy.
Come on, yeah.
I mean,
we don't trust this guy. We need to watch everything with him.
Yeah, this preoperative X-ray shows it so clearly. Retreated root canal with a big old blown out the back, caries underneath this crown. I mean, it's not even questionable.
Yeah.
And the fact that they say, "Oh no, we can't have a buildup here unless we get these post-operative X-rays and photographs," I was just like, "Oh my gosh, wow."
Yeah, I don't know.
And it must show the
don't know what to say.
And it must show the buildup.
I will tell you.
That hasn't happened yet.
I've had some insurances say that, if usually you do a build-up and a crown on the same day. I mean, that's the most efficient way to do it, usually. And I've had them deny paying for the build-up because it was done on the same day as the crown. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Do a build-up and then have the patient come back later and do the crown? I mean, I guess you could, but then you're using more anesthetic. The patient's taking more time out of their day, and it's a totally inefficient way to do things. Yeah. And if you're going to pay for it in separate appointments, why not pay for it in one appointment? I don't know.
Yeah, it's so inefficient.
One claim, yeah. But luckily, guys, we are going to get to do this a lot longer than we had planned because our next topic is that dentists are retiring later in their careers, later in life, at an average of, this is according to the ADA's Health Policy Institute, the average dentist currently retires just before they turn 69 years old, which is up from 65 years old in 2001. So, Marcus, let's start with you. And why do you think this is that dentists are retiring so much later in life now?
I think that dentists today have a lot more passion for the profession than older dentists used to.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
don't
joking.
think so.
I'm just joking.
I was going to say, wow.
And, to be fair, we are giving our opinions and we are practicing dentists. So, I think, we see a lot more than, some of these studies do and everything like that. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I think a lot of it is they have to. I mean, if you want to get to the point where you have enough money to retire, I mean, okay, so maybe there is somebody out there, there are people for sure that just love this stuff, love dentistry, they love doing it, they just can't picture themselves doing anything else. It's not about the money. They've made their money, whatever. They just want to stay in and do it. There's probably a small percentage, in my opinion, that really feel that way. But I think most of them are practicing longer because they have to, because reimbursement's coming down. Corporate dentistry's come in. It's harder to sell your practice and get that little chunk of money that you were counting on at the end. So dentists kind of have to practice longer. And some of that's on the dentists. I think we probably assume that we make so much money we can afford to spend it, and we don't put enough away or don't plan enough for retirement. But there's a good part of that's just that the profession is in a bit of decline, just to put it bluntly, where things aren't the way they used to be. You can't just go and work 3 or 4 days a week and make the kind of money that you can live a really great lifestyle and have plenty for your retirement and sell your practice in the end and get a nice big bonus there and retire at 60 years old. I think enough has changed. People got to work longer.
Yeah, the good news is if we retire at 69, you've only got like 3 years left, Marcus.
That's true. I'm almost there.
You're getting cold. No. So I don't know. I think those are all great points. I know we've talked about on previous episodes that sometimes it's tough to get an honest answer out of dentists. When you go into a practice and ask them before you go to dental school, why, what do you love about dentistry? And they give you just all the fluff answers and all the positives. So I don't know with any of these studies if you would get an honest answer out of a dentist why they're working so much longer in life. But Troy, what do you think? What have you seen?
I think Marcus hit the nail on the head. I mean, when you're 55 years old before you get your loans paid off, Yeah. I mean, in the average, the debt coming out of with nowadays. I mean, that's insane. I mean, that gives you very little time to put away for retirement, and that just makes it to where you can't retire so darn soon. I mean, it's taken me a lot longer to pay my debt off than I ever imagined.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seemed to be back in the, 30 years ago or something like that, you would sell your practice after 30 years or something, and that would be a nice retirement right there from what you earned off your practice. But that's just not how it is anymore with, corporate offices and things like that we just aren't able to sell our practices for what they used to be sold for, it seems like.
Yep. Well, I think that's going to get worse. I mean, if you come out of dental school $500,000 in debt, you don't have any options.
Gosh. Yeah. That is a staggering number. $500,000.
We were half that, and I'm still trying to get it all paid off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so another, it was in the same study. It said that by 2037, the number of U.S. dentists will outpace the U.S. population growth during that same period. So about 20 years. How do you guys think more dentists will impact they call it an exit rate? Will it make dentists retired earlier? Will it make them hang on longer? I don't know, Marcus. What do you think?
I mean, I think you're going to have to hang on longer, probably because I mean, if you don't have other skills, if you can't go do a different career and make the kind of money you need to make to service your debt and live the lifestyle you want, I mean, you're going to have to work longer to make it. I think. I mean, it's probably maybe a good thing for society or for the population generally, because if you have more dentists, then theoretically the costs are going to come down. There's more options for the consumer. But as far as the individual practice owner or somebody out there, I mean, it probably means your prices are going to have to come down while you're still having pressure from the insurance that reimbursement is coming down. So you're not going to be making as much money. So you're probably going to have to work longer to pay off your debts and make the kind of income and retirement money you need, I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, even if you live somewhat frugally, if you're, like Troy said, $500,000 in debt, I don't know what a monthly payment on that is. I mean, $2,000, $3,000 probably. I mean, that, even if you're living well below your means, you're still going to have a huge chunk of money going out for student loans each month, though. So I don't know, Troy. What do you think? Do you think this is going to have a negative effect on dentists being able to retire?
Well, I think Marcus is right on. I mean,
yeah,
I don't see any way to, you think about it, you saturate the market, what's going to happen? You're going to increase competition, of course, because we're going to be competing for smaller portions of people. I mean, we're going to be trying to do everything we can to keep the people that we have, because, the average dental practice is not going to have the 12 to 1,500 that it needs to go. It's going to have the, 800 people maybe versus, I mean, that's just not good. That's not good in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we see 2037, it says. That's so whoever's listening to this is the ADA saying this, by the way. This isn't us making it up. It's on the ada.org website. 2037, the U.S. dentists will outpace the U.S. population growth. That's not good.
No, it's not.
But on the same thing,
it's almost comical.
Did I send you guys the that other article that kind of went into the medical side of things?
I don't know.
We've done a little flop. By 2030, they're projecting a huge shortage of physicians because there's less and less people going out. Everybody's not going into that stuff because of all the crap that's going on in medicine.
Yeah.
I mean, notice how many people have you talked to that are medical doctors go, man, I should have been a dentist.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time, and I'm like going, you shouldn't. I mean, grass isn't greener on the other side. And we have a much better work schedule. There's no doubt about that. But, I mean, we're following the path that medicine followed. We've talked about this in the past. But now we've got statistics from the ADA that says in 2037, U.S. dentists will outpace the U.S. population growth. And that just means we're going to be making less and less and less as time goes on.
It's amazing, yeah.
But yet we're coming out with more and more and more student loan debt.
More debt, yeah. And, it's getting to the point where a lot of dentists are working on the weekends or working later at night like the physicians are. And, I don't know, maybe some dentists want to do that. That's not why I went to dental school. I went so I could have a pretty predictable schedule and work 8 to 5 and whatever. But that may change at some point. And,
Well, that's what Howard Ferrand said, wasn't it? Howard Ferrand said that those guys coming out of school need to work 5, maybe 6 days a week.
Yeah. Don't refer anything out. You got to do what you can.
Don't refer anything out. Do everything. Yeah. I mean, if that's why you went into dentistry because you love it, you're going to be just fine. You're gonna love that. Working your tail off, shucking wisdom teeth on a Saturday morning, whatever it is. For those of us who wanted a little bit more, relaxed work schedule, for a little more relaxed, more home time. It's kind of going against that.
Yeah, and we've said this before that, with all these extra dentists graduating from dental school, it's going to saturate it and income's going to go down. And it's not just going to go down for dentists, it'll go down for hygienists and assistants and things like that, for, other employees like that. But I don't think people think it's real, but this statistic shows that it's going to be real. There's not going to be as much of a need for dentists because there's so many of them, and there's just not enough dental spending to go around. People already don't spend, what they probably could on their teeth, and that may go down because there's going to be so much competition, and they'll go for the cheapest route. And then your insurance is going to see, well, there's 1,000 dentists in your 1 mile radius, so we're just going to down reimbursements and none of you will get paid. I don't know. And then you'll have to pre-authorize a build-up after you do it.
I know. Yeah.
It's terrible. I
Yeah,
don't know.
pre-authorize it after you do it, and then you got to listen to the patient cry and moan. They're stiff for the bill
Yeah.
because you
Maybe.
didn't do your
Yeah.
job right, because you don't memorize everything known to mankind
Yeah.
with every insurance policy known to mankind out there.
And maybe
Yeah.
the patient will have to pay, but maybe that it'll be one of those things where they say, well, we're not going to, the insurance isn't going to pay, and the patient isn't responsible either.
Well, in this situation, like I mentioned before, I am not.
You're not a
I'm
provider.
not a provider
though,
for that, so the patient will be responsible. It's just a matter of them
Yeah.
being furious at me for
Yeah.
doing something that, of course, their insurance did not cover.
Yeah.
And, how dare I?
How dare you, Troy? So, Troy, what advice can you give to our listeners, since we're here to help these people out, help these other dentists and dental students out? What advice can you give so they don't have to work until they're 70, unless they want to? Is there a way?
There's not a way, unless you can pay cash for dental school. I mean, because if
no.
you can pay cash for dental school, if you have a rich uncle, rich aunt, rich mom and dad, whatever, and you're coming out with zero debt, your options are really good. I mean, you aren't going to have to worry about not making quite so much money due to insurances and all the other forces we have going against us right now. If you're coming out with a ton of debt, you're going to be struggling. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. I mean, we came out with quite a bit of debt. That was 15 years ago, almost 16 years ago now. And it takes a long time to pay that money back, unless you're just taking your whole paycheck and doing that. But a lot of us want to live life a little bit when we get out of school, not live like we're on ramen noodles and college students still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a struggle because it's not a very, for me who's in dentistry right now for 15 years, looking at these statistics of retirement and stuff like that, it's not in the pattern of which I was hoping for, what I was looking at for retirement.
Well, yeah, and when we were in dental school, they said that, what was it, like within about 10 years after we got out of school, there would be a shortage of dentists. But then they started opening all these dental schools, and then dental schools went from, 75 dental students per class to 100. And so totally counteracted it.
Exactly. You're right. They did
think.
tell us there was going to be a shortage of dentists.
Yeah.
They lied.
Yeah.
Now they're saying that we're going to outpace the general population.
I mean,
in my area, hygiene has done this already. They're pumping out more hygienists in the school
Yeah.
over here than they can get jobs. I've got hygienists coming from 50, 60 miles away with applications because they can't find jobs. And so that's what's going to happen to dentists. I mean,
it's true,
Can you imagine being a dentist and not being able to find a job?
Oh,
Yeah.
Because you can't afford a practice. I mean, if you got a
Yeah, you have to work for
$500,000 note, you're not going to be buying a practice.
No.
I mean,
It's true, and another part of the problem I see with the hygienists is that they expect to be paid what hygienists been paid for the last 10 years or whatever, and it doesn't seem sustainable because there's so many of them. But they all want to get paid $30-$40 an hour, and it doesn't seem realistic if there's not a need for if there's so many hygienists and there's not a need for all of them. I don't know.
yeah.
especially when they're first year out of school.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it if they're out for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. So, Marcus, do you have any advice for our listeners so they don't have to work until they're dead?
I don't know. I mean, I think if you're going to be in the profession, you better make sure that you really are passionate about it. You're willing to work hard. I mean, I'd tell you, think outside the box. Just because it's the way it is doesn't mean it has to be that way.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to be willing to do some things that you maybe didn't think you were going to have to do. Be frugal. Maybe it means you got to be careful with your lifestyle. Those aren't nice things or fun things to hear, but they might be the reality.
So,
Yeah,
Marcus, what
it's
you're
true.
saying is I can't come out of dental school and live high on the hog.
I don't think so. I mean,
I can't be like. That's why I went to dental school.
I know, and that may be frustrating, and it was frustrating to me to realize, I mean, that, well, maybe it's not exactly the way I thought. And it doesn't mean it can't be. I think there could be guys that can come out and can kill it. But I think it's going to take even more than it ever has before, someone who's really got a lot of passion for it and is really, really creative, really passionate, really going for it, if you're going to be one of the guys that really comes out and just nails it and does it. If you're just in it because, I think it's a cool profession. I think it's all right. I think it'll be good, Mm-hmm. I don't think just going through the motions is going to do it anymore if you really want to make a big living in dentistry.
Yeah.
It's my opinion.
Yeah, it's true. I was thinking, you'd have to be open to a crazy schedule, maybe. You might have to work on a weekend or work at night to accommodate some of these patients that can't get in during the day. Probably start saving for retirement like as early as you can, even if it's a little bit, so maybe you don't have to work that long. I don't know. The miracle of compound interest might help. Live below your means, like you said, and maybe offer all kinds of treatments. Maybe Howard Ferron's right. You can't refer out that molar root canal. You've got to get some training in how to do it. But man, some of that stuff, doing some molar root canals or, I don't know what other procedures, implants, things like that. You've got to spend a lot on other equipment to be able to do these things properly. And that could put you into even more debt.
And I think those are reasons why, additional reasons why we see corporate dentistry rising, is because to really offer all those things, I mean, the economies of scale come into play. It doesn't make a lot of sense for one solo guy practicing in some town with 20 other dentists around him to go spend that kind of money. Where's your return on investment? I think those kind of things also put pressure on us. I mean, how are you going to properly, how are you going to offer those kind of treatments, CAD CAM and 3D scanning and all those things as a solo practitioner? It maybe can be done, but again, you're going to have to be somebody who's really innovative, really passionate, great marketer. If you're just your average solo practitioner, it starts to look more and more attractive to go work for the corporate guy. And anyway. Yeah,
those are great points. If you're splitting a CAD CAM machine between four of you, that's a big difference than between just one. Than just buying it yourself. That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right, should we move on to our next topic here?
Let's do it.
All right, okay, so Troy, this is another thing. Troy's apparently been the head of our research department this week because he found this other article this was from the ADA.org also, wasn't it, Troy?
Yep, ADA, yep.
And it was an interview with Dr. Jeffrey Cole, who is the incoming ADA president, the 155th ADA president. Huh.
Yeah, wow.
I wonder if you could name them all. So this I don't know. We've been talking about this. A lot of this is kind of frustrating to us, and I don't know if it's just Dr. Cole being a member of the ADA or the ADA president. He's kind of restricted on what he can do and what changes he can make. But he was asked about some of the concerns with dentistry in general, and he said that he agrees, I guess, with us. I mean, he didn't say he agrees with us. He should agree with us. He probably listens to the show. But we've talked about student debt being a big issue, and he said that he also thought that student debt was a big issue, but he didn't, he says the challenge is how we can help new dentists succeed financially, but also support them in delivering what's best for patients. So, that didn't help me have any confidence that he's going to help new dental students with their student debt. Did it make you feel, is it going to make you sleep better at night tonight, Marcus?
No. I mean, it's just, no disrespect to the incoming president, but that's just a nice vague statement, and it doesn't even really feel like it carries any meaning. I don't even know what, it's just, okay, that feels good or sounds nice, but I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. Troy, you're the one that found this article. How did you feel about it? What were your overall feelings on this?
Didn't mean
I
understood it. I found the article, but I don't know. And hopefully when he gets sworn in or whatever it is in October. I don't know how they go about doing that. Hopefully he'll give some more detail on this, because he, like Marcus said, it was extremely vague. It says, what do you see as the biggest issues facing the profession? And he stated that it's student debt, and then didn't say anything about how we were going to fix it. So I hope he's got something up his sleeve, because it would be nice. We've talked, it's like, dude, student debt is insane, and it limits everything you do after dental school, like we talked about. There's no bank out there going to give you another $1 million to go buy a practice if you come out of school with $500,000 when you're going to make $130,000 a year. No bank's going to do that. I understand that the ADA has to look at a lot of different factors. They got the science part of it. They got the research, all this stuff that they do. A lot of the stuff they do lobbying back in Washington and whatnot. They do a lot of things that way. But, man, one of the things that they really need to focus on is getting to dentists happy. Make sure the dentists are happy, and I think everything else will fall into place. Student debt is a huge reason why dentists aren't happy, because we get out of school, and of course, when we got out, it was kind of a fictitious thing. They kind of told you don't worry about much. I mean, they told us to worry about it, but not over the top. You're like going, I'm going to get out and I'm going to pay this off, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the status. This is not the way it is anymore. It's gonna bite you your whole entire profession. And now we aren't going to be able to retire till we're 75, because my student loans won't be paid off till I'm 70.
Yeah.
I remember asking, everybody probably knows my father-in-law was a dentist, and I remember asking him one time, how long did it take you to pay off your student loans? He's like, oh man, gosh, I think it took like 7 years. I'm like, oh boy, 7 years?
Man.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Whoa.
Poor guy, how did he survive?
I need to ask him how much dental school was. I can't remember, but
Probably
I'm sure it's
$30,000
for 4 years. I bet, probably something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like, I kind of like what you said, Troy. I feel like the ADA is just trying to do so much. It's just spread too thin. Like, they apparently they do some good stuff, legislating and things like that in Washington and putting pressure that way, but there's other issues where they have to keep dentists happy, like you said, and deal with some of these other issues. And I don't feel like there's enough, attention to go around. And with a president, this ADA president's going to be in office for 1 year. Like, 1 year doesn't even seem like enough time to even figure out how things run. To me,
right.
And so, you want to make these changes, but I don't know. It seems like he's in for a year, and some of these dental schools or whoever is in charge of dental student debt are going to say, well, let's give it a year. This guy will be out of office. It won't matter anymore. They just wait it out. Yeah. And unless there's some real focus and real pressure from the ADA, I don't know if that's going to change much.
Yeah,
I don't know.
agree.
Yeah, and if one guy has one opinion and while he's the president, like, he only has a year, well, the next guy may have a different opinion, a different approach. Like, it just seems like nothing's ever going to change. Just this big bureaucracy is just going to keep rolling along.
Yeah.
Just kind of there. Hey, we're the voice of dentistry. Join us. Oh, okay. I'm a dentist. I should. I don't know.
Yeah, and it seems to be that is you're just a dentist, so you join the ADA. But we've said before, we don't know what we get from the ADA except for a magazine each month. And I guess there's some good stuff that probably goes on in Washington, but a lot of it seems to be a PR machine, and I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe we've benefited and we just don't know about it. But one of these questions asked him what his priorities are for his 1 year as president, and he said that when leadership changes in some groups, the new leader will take everybody in a different direction. I think that's very disruptive. But isn't that what dentistry needs? Like, organized dentistry needs to be disrupted because of all these these insurance issues, student loan debt. Like, there's so much that needs to be turned on its head, doesn't it seem, Troy?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of worry about that. Like Marcus was saying, it seems like this is just going to be status quo, and I don't know to what effect a person in the ADA can change stuff. I don't know. I like you're saying, I don't know if it can be changed because there is too many other powers that be. 1 year, I don't think is enough time to do anything. And something needs to change. I mean, we have to change. A question above, he says, why are you a member? It says, well, the reason I'm a member is because I think it's extremely important we support what basically powers our profession, the ADA. It does that so that our members can succeed in delivering good oral health. If our dentists are so freaked out about the amount of money that they put into the profession, that the fact that insurance companies are just lowballing us hardcore, they're dictating whether or not we can do build-ups before we do the build-up. I mean, if they're dictating whether we can do the crowns before we send them a picture of the final product, this stuff, I mean, that is going to just destroy dentistry. No one is going to want to provide any oral health care to anyone.
Yeah.
Myself included. I mean, do you guys want to do more? When you guys get this stuff from these insurance companies and you have to fight them, like you have like 3, 4, 5 hours of your front desk lady trying to fight somebody to get $25 reimbursement on something?
Yeah.
Does that make you want to do
paid
more or less
and
dentistry?
You just paid your front desk like $15 an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
You just spent more paying.
Exactly. Does that make you want to do more dentistry or less dentistry?
No, it's true. You find what's most productive and you do that. And yeah, I mean, that's totally true. Why would you want to pay somebody for 4 or 5 hours to go through all this paperwork? And I think those insurance companies know that. They know you don't have like an insurance department at your small 1 or 2 doctor office. You've got one, person up front doing the scheduling and payments and insurance stuff and all that. And it's frustrating. Yeah. And so that quote you said, Troy, he says, the reason that I'm a member is because I think it's extremely important that we support what basically powers our profession, the ADA. Doesn't it seem like what should power our profession is the individual dentists? To me, that makes it sound like the ADA is what makes dentistry go. If we can't function without the ADA, I don't know, maybe we can't. I mean, but it seems like
Marcus is functioning just fine without the ADA.
You're right.
I mean, I don't want to, drag Marcus through the mud or nothing.
No,
you've admitted, right. I mean, you're not a member of the ADA. You still practice dentistry. You still have a license. You still do quality work.
Yeah. No,
I
feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's asked also if why should a non-member join? Well, for those reasons, I guess, so that we can do that. You know what? If you have happy dentists, like we stated earlier, you're going to have dentists that are going to be paying dues to be in the ADA, because we know the ADA is out there battling these insurance companies and helping us out a little bit, because it's getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, in the 15 years we've been doing dentistry, I never really worried much about insurance early on at all. Mm-hmm. Reimbursements were fairly close to what I was charging anyway. Yes. I mean, it was just my fees. And now I'm like every year taking pay cut, because these insurance companies are cutting reimbursement.
And he says, try envisioning the world if the ADA wasn't here. Well, maybe I mean, I hate to just rail against Dr. Cole and the ADA, but maybe I guess I would like to know what the ADA is really doing. I would, we get our ADA news and our JADA, and there's great things, but a lot of it is fluff, and it's like, look at what this dentist did. Look at this and this. No, I want to know what the ADA is doing for me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give my dues. And somewhere in there it says to support the, we are working. It says, what's in it for me? And he says, we are working towards that, and we should never lose sight of the big picture. Well, yeah, but we've been doing this for 15 years, and we do want to know what we're working towards, because what's happening is student loan debt has gotten totally out of control, and it's skyrocketing, and insurance reimbursements are going down. And if student loan debt was going up and insurance reimbursements were going up also, okay, maybe we could live with that, but it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, we've talked about, there's a lot of insurance marketing in, ADA publications and websites and things like that. And, the ADA doesn't want to give up those, I don't know how many thousands or millions of dollars of advertising. So they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them, which, makes sense. But there's a little bit of a conflict of interest there, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'll step down off my soapbox now.
Well, we're on a soapbox, and if anyone from the ADA is listening, we are on a soapbox. The ADA has its place. I mean, I understand that we have to have the research. We have to make sure that the public is protected and things like this. I understand that. We have to give them good oral health. The problem that I feel, and we talked about this a little before we came on the show, and us three, I think we all feel this way, is that we feel like that we're not covered enough. There's just not enough people looking out for the dentist, and therefore, as dentists become less and less happy, we want to do less and less dentistry. It's not the whole, oh man, the insurance companies are kicking our butts, so that means we want to do more. Oh man, I got to see 30 more people because to make the same amount of money. That's not exciting. That doesn't.
It's not exciting.
That's not making me want to do more, actually, and it's making me just cut back on my costs so that I don't have to do more. Because you know what? Seeing 20, 30 people a day is enough for me. I can't do more because my quality of care will go down and my sanity will go down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not conducive to quality care.
Correct.
And if we want to worry about, he said that, we want to be able to have the ADA members provide good quality care and all that. Well, that's not if we got to work harder.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if we're scrimping and doing stuff just because the insurance company's making us do it, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And that doesn't help anybody.
No, it's not good for the public. It's not good for the dentists. It's not good for the ADA. So,
No.
I don't know.
Well, what's one other thing? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you're not making as much money in dentistry as you thought you were, the insurance companies are kicking your butt. What are some of the things you're going to start cutting? Little things like your $1,100-$1,200 a year ADA fee.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good $1,200 because then you go, well, I don't need to pay that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to pay this. Maybe,
right.
I mean, that's immediately one of those things you're going to start cutting.
Absolutely.
So dentists have to be happy to be able to be members of the ADA.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you might start cutting an employee. I mean, not literally cutting them, but maybe not having as many.
Yeah, that sounds kind of violent.
Let them go.
Wow.
Boy.
But yeah,
violence is never
that's
the
true.
answer, Ryder.
But that's true. I mean, you cut out your ADA dues every year. Yeah.
Yep, $1,200.
I quit because I was just like, what is the point? Why am I throwing all this money at them? Like, I feel like I'm not really benefiting anything, and I haven't regretted it. I mean, I just haven't. I haven't missed it.
You haven't missed your JADA every month? Your ADA news?
I feel like I'm still doing just fine. I don't feel like
I totally agree.
Made a better living, or I would have been a better dentist by sticking with them. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. In one of these questions, he's asked about his goals, and he says, "My goals are very broad and overarching. To become more relevant to members who particularly need some individual attention and to make sure that we keep the organization financially sound by doing that." So first of all, more relevant to members who particularly need some individual attention. He doesn't say how, but I mean, Marcus, as not a member of the ADA, how would this help you? Like, what kind of individual attention would he be able to give to you? I mean, not him, but the ADA to get you to become a member. I mean, like seriously, like what would make you want to become a member? What kind of evidence or whatever would you have to see?
I don't know. Like it's weird. Like I don't know what to even say to that, because it's like I don't need more discounts. I don't need like being an ADA member will get you 10% off at Warvis Fishing and whatever.
Yeah, right.
Or a Mercedes Benz. I like the little Mercedes Benz things we get.
Yeah,
Kurt, I can't afford a Mercedes.
You can get a better rate on your credit card, and I don't know. I'm like those kind of things. That's not the individual attention I need. I mean,
no.
I need to feel like the ADA is actually doing something that's going to impact me personally, my financial future, my success. It all just feels so general and so I don't know. Right now I don't. And I don't know how they would individually reach out to me to make me feel like
I don't know.
They're going to make my practice life so much better, and they're going to make my financial future so much stronger. I don't know how they would do that.
I don't know either. I have no clue. Troy, do you have any thoughts for us? Any ideas?
Well, let me ask you this. If you saw the ADA actively combating insurance companies reimbursing dentists just squat and dictating all the stuff that they can dictate in our lives, would you be more inclined to say, okay, good, that's a cause I'll throw some money behind?
I
Yes.
would.
Yes.
I would.
There you go. I
And
think that right there, that I think is the main thing as far as me. My student loans are under control. I'm not overly worried about those now. But my practice day in and day out insurance crap that I deal with would be the number one thing that the ADA could do for me as an individual one-to-one thing. Get these insurance companies out of our mess. Let us practice dentistry. Let us dictate what fees we can charge. And if they're going to cover a certain amount, then we got to get a policy back in place where we can charge the patient the extra. I mean, this is where we have to go. If not, this isn't going to get any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're. I don't feel like they're looking out for me. I don't feel like they're. What is it that they're doing that really is for me?
Yeah, they're more interested in the patient. It seems, huh? It seems like they're more interested to access to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we would all
Do they
probably
represent
agree.
the public, or do they represent me?
Yeah, and we would probably all agree that those things are good things, but the ADA, like if they want to focus on that, then they need like another body that is going to focus on the dentist, because it doesn't feel like they can do all of it.
Correct, because
Yeah.
the ADA
And-
receives its dues from the dentists, not from
Right.
the general public.
Right. They should represent the dentist. And, if they have Marcus's, $1,200 a year, is that going to make a difference? No. I mean, maybe if they had 1,000 dentists that paid that, maybe, but I don't even know if that would make a difference.
And that's one of the things I think. I think, are they really? They're going to represent the interests of where their funding comes from. Is my sense. I mean, that's generally, I think, what a person would do. Mm-hmm. So, if the money they're getting from dentists is a drop in the bucket compared to what their expenses are and what it costs to run the organization, they're getting huge amounts of money from other sources. I mean, I don't know what all those sources are.
Insurance companies, maybe?
Insurance companies, advertising, they're probably going to pay attention to those sources of money a little more. And even if it's not like intentional, they're probably going to be swayed, I would assume, I would think, by the sources of their money. And I would bet the money they're making from dentist dues is probably a drop in the bucket compared to what their total budget is.
What they're getting from advertising dollars. Yeah. I mean, they probably get more from an advertising, probably 30 times more than they get, in a month than they get from me in a year. I mean, that's just how it is.
So why are they going to be motivated to focus on your individual interests and needs as a solo dentist?
They get you to be a member, Marcus, for $1,000, but it offends an advertiser that they get $30,000 a month from. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like
why are they going to pay attention to me?
Why are they going to pay attention to you?
Well, the one reason they want to pay attention to you is because then they can tell the people who they're advertising that they're contacting blank amount of people. Their publications go out to a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
The less people, he's like, okay, we have 5 dentists that are still members of the ADA. Nobody's going to be paying for, So there is a little bit of that, check and balance there. But like you're saying, though, clearly, though, they're making more money on the advertising or something than they are with the dentist. I mean, our $1,100, $1,200 isn't going to cover much.
And, one of his other goals, he says, is to keep the ADA financially sound. Well, how do you keep it financially sound? You either get more advertising or you get more dentists to pay their dues. So how do you get more dentists to pay their dues? You graduate more dentists from dental schools. And then it gets so saturated, but they need this nice, comfy, warm blanket of the ADA, so they pay their dues and they feel good. And
then by the year 2037, the dentists have outweighed the U.S. population growth.
And what I can see, maybe this is where we're headed, is every human being is going to have their own personal dentist. Because the population of dentists is just going to catch up with the population of America. Yep. And then, you'll just have your take-home dentist.
There you go. Your in-house dentist.
Yes.
Take care of your dental
we've
needs.
solved the problem.
Yes.
Every family a dentist.
Every family will have its own dentist.
I feel like we just solved the Da Vinci Code.
We did.
Yes. All right. Well, I don't know. What do you think? If our listeners want to try to enact any changes, are there any ideas you guys can think for them to do? Like contact the ADA? I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think contacting your delegates or whatever your local representation. I don't think it hurts to reach out to the bigger organization of the ADA and the president or president-elect. But I don't know that. Other than a nice little form letter or reply or something like that, you may not see as much. But maybe working through grassroots type stuff with your local society and your local representation, your state representation might be one avenue.
Yeah, I was thinking about this where he says, you gotta basically he's saying you gotta pay your dues and then we'll do stuff for you is kind of how he's saying it. And, that would be like telling our employees, hey, we're going to give you a raise, and then we want you to, work harder after. But the way to do it is for that employee to work harder, and then they get paid for that extra work. I mean, that's how it seems to me. And in my mind, the ADA is basically employed by the dentist. If there's no dentist, there's no ADA. But I think he's seen it the other way, that there's an ADA to, make dentistry awesome. But without the dentist, there's no ADA.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. Troy, what are you going to do to enact change?
Well, I feel like my hands are tied here in my little bubble that I have going on here. I just get to sit back and just voice my opinion on a podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. We're doing what we can.
I would just be curious to see if we're the only three in the whole dental profession that feels this way. Or
it
know
would
what
be
I'm
nice
saying?
to
How
hear
many
back.
people feel the same way that we do? Granted, just our local societies and stuff does not give us the whole big picture of the country, the state the country's in, whatever.
Yeah.
However, from everybody that I talk to, they feel the exact same way. I mean, it just doesn't feel like things are going in a positive direction in our profession right now.
Yeah.
No, if you get an honest answer from another dentist about this topic, you never hear like, yes, things are amazing. I love the direction that the profession of dentistry is going. I don't know. And I thought it was interesting when they asked what his goals were, and he said, to give each member individual attention and keep it financially sound. But before, he'd said that student debt was a big issue. So I don't know. I think with 1 year, you got to pick one thing, focus on that, and see what you can do. I don't know if you can be everything to everybody.
Oh, not in a year. There's no way.
Yeah. And, if there's anybody from the ADA listening, we would love to have you on our podcast. I know we've talked to the current ADA president back and forth a little bit, and he's expressed interest in coming on, but schedule-wise, it hasn't worked out yet. So we're still keeping our fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't know. It'd be nice to ask these questions because I would like to get more of a firm answer on some of these questions. I feel like in this interview, the questions were really pretty good, but the answers were just a little too vague for my liking.
Right.
I don't know. A little too political or, politician-like.
Yeah. Just say the nice things, general feel-good answers. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where it's become. I mean, maybe that's all the ADA can do.
Maybe.
We talked about this in the past. Maybe their hands are tied.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, do you guys have anything else to add before it must be getting late? We better close up shop. You guys have anything else to add before we go?
I don't. I'm all out of profound insight.
We're spent.
Yeah.
If you were an ADA member, you'd have lots of energy.
Yes.
That's true.
Construction is going so well.
Troy, you got anything else to add?
No, I don't want us to, that's the reason the podcast is named Dental Realist is just because of that. We're just giving our opinions of us three of the current state of things, and it just kind of has a situation where there's some things we think could change, and we'll have to see if the new president can change them, and if these insurance companies can be combated or not, and if not, we're going to be retiring later and later and later and later. Eventually, we'll die before we can retire.
It's true.
Which is actually, to be honest with you, I am worried that I will die before I retire.
It's true. I mean, how many dentists are working into their 80s?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do that.
How old was your
That can't be
father-in-law
good
when he
for
retired?
quality of care.
My father, he was 69.
69. So he
And
was
so
right exactly
he was
on
right
the
at the
ADA
average.
average.
The good thing is, I guess, that for the last about 12 years, he only worked about a day or two a week. So I
Okay,
guess if you
that's
spread
not
it out
bad.
over that, but man.
But his
I don't
student
think-
loan debt was what? 7 years it took him to pay it off?
I think he said 7 years.
How
we
long?
need to.
Let me see
We
here.
need to get him on the podcast and ask him some
Let's do
questions
it.
to find out how
We-
things
we
have
do.
changed. Because that would be interesting to know how things have changed. And he practiced for 42 years. It'd be nice to see how things have changed.
Yes. So if we divide 500,000 by 7, you're paying $6,000 a month to your student loans to pay them off in 7.
Mama.
That's not including interest. Sorry, that's just that number.
Well, that'd be nice if they give interest-free lones.
Yeah,
There you go.
maybe that's something the ADA
Maybe
can
that's
work
the
on.
answer. Maybe, that might be the answer.
Interest-free loans.
Wow. Huh. God, we're full
Interest-free
of good
loans.
answers tonight.
I know.
Yes, we
All
are.
right. Marcus, do you want to tell everybody where to find us?
Well, I am in Blackfoot, Idaho. Troy is in Mountain Home, and
See,
Ryder's in Ogden.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
Oh.
Geez, I hope
Syracuse.
I'm not in Ogden. I might be dead if I'm in Ogden. I don't want to go out after dark in Ogden. Let's see. I'm gonna get your address here, Marcus, and then they can send all their fan
Blast
mail
that
to
out. Great. That'd be good.
Blast out his social security number while you're at it.
You
man.
can find us online at dentalrealist.com. We also have a Twitter account at dentalrealist. We'd love to hear from you there. You can also reach out to us at dentalrealist@gmail.com. We have a couple of books. Great information there. So you want to be a dentist, geared a little bit more towards those who are looking to go into the profession. And then there's So Now You're a Dentist, which is another excellent book. Great read, if I do so for all of us. And
Yes.
it's good information for newer dentists, for those who have been practicing for a while. Good advice. So check those out. Available anywhere fine digital books are sold. And we appreciate your listenership and love to hear from you.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. We thank you for tuning in tonight on episode 33, and we'll see you on episode 34. Thanks.